Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make a car cake. The particular type of cake I'm going to make is a Wiggles car. I know it's so popular in Australia, it's such a popular show, and I've never done a car cake. So basically, if you don't want to do a Wiggles cake, it's going to give you that sort of VW convertible shape that you could use for a car. Okay, so I've got a bit of a dome on my cake, so I'm just going to, it's quite good to use the tin as a guideline just when I'm getting the dome part off before I take my cake over. I've just had this cake in the fridge for a little bit just so it's nice and cold. Take that off, put it somewhere. And I've got a sheet of baking paper. I love my baking paper. And right. Okay, so first thing is that I'm going to cut my cake. I don't mind that it's like a bit slanty. That doesn't really bother me because it'll be fine. Okay, so I've measured out what I need. I'm actually going to I think that my cake is I want it to be 21 centimeters and it's 18, just more than 18. So I'm not going to build onto it. That's fine. I'm just going to do this. So it's going to be, I'm going to do 18 centimeters as a length, and then I'm going to do 13, 14, 13. I'm going to do 13 as the width. I think that's about a good one. So, okay, so my next step, now I've got my rectangle sorted, I'm going to cut out where the seats are going to go. So, and then I'll build up a bit at the front and at the back. But, so if you look at the car, it's kind of like, this way is not a perfect square. It does come in more towards the bottom. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to do kind of a perfect square. Make sure I've got enough, at the front. But I'm just going to lightly cut out my square shape, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so you can see where I cut. I did think, oh, maybe I'll cut there. That's my line back there, because really, there's not much space, that much space at the back. I can always build out the back if I need to. So, yeah, anyway, so that's my line. I'm going to cut out, you can sort of see how deep I'm probably going to cut out about 1 centimetre is the goal. Hopefully I can cut it out evenly. As you can see, that was such a great job of cutting out evenly. I'm not finished, I just want to show you how bad that looks. So that's all fine. It's very hard to cut a square and do it that way. So I'm now just going to neaten it up. It doesn't matter if it's uneven because you are going to ganache it, so don't worry at all about it. I've actually found it really easy to just scoop it out. See if I can actually show you what I'm doing, because I can't do it with two hands. I can't do it holding the camera, but because the cake's a mud cake, it's really dense. If I hold the cake and scoop at the same time, it actually is quite easy to get flat, so that might help you. Okay, so that's how it looks. What I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to add another layer just to build the top part up and the back part up. I've got this chunk of cake that I cut off. So I'm going to only do 1 centimetre roughly, just literally a square bit, because then I'm going to carve, and then a square. Okay, so I've just cut out my pieces. It's a bit annoying, I didn't do it wide enough. So it's got 2 bits there, 1 bit there. Okay. You definitely need to use a mud cake for this. That's that. Otherwise you would have so many crumbs. I've already got crumbs with this. Okay, so that there is pretty good. Right, I'm going to chuck that in the fridge for 10 minutes. Okay, so, right. This is what I've got. It's been in the fridge for a little bit. The next thing we're going to do is cut off the top. So basically, we just want to smooth it over and cut it to be that smooth circle part. So, the way we are going to do this, right. Okay, I'm swapping knives. Going to use one of these knives. Right, and it's just a matter of sawing, and going that way. Okay, right, so I'm happy with that, that's fine. So that's enough of, it's hard to tell, sorry, with my black chair behind it. But I'm fine with that, that kind of, happy with that. Let's try and keep it nice and neat. Okay, so then the next thing we're going to do is do these little grooves that are coming from here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it in using a modeling tool, just because I'm not very good at cutting. I'm not very good at being even and all of that, and I just would prefer to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it in, literally just mark in those things, and then I'll show you. Sorry, I can't do it backwards, so I'll do it now and then show you what it looks like. Okay, so what I've done, you probably don't even need to do this. You can see where I've lightly made the cuttings here. I've just put in my toothpicks just so I know kind of where on the bottom. It made sure it is kind of even in line with here. What I've done, and sorry, I've just built this back up. You can see where I've stuck in the ganache, because as I was looking from the front, the side does need to be as high, and I'm going to carve it away, but it does, so I've just used some leftover cake just so it's all the same height. So next thing, I'm going to carve out these grooves just using my knife. Okay, and you can see how, you know, this thing around the wheel is a bit lower. What I'm actually going to do is, before I cut down here, I'm actually going to just cut in the side a centimetre and just take out that centimetre so it's a bit lower. Okay, so yeah, it looks like a bit of a mess, but that is all fine. You can always fix it up with ganache. So I'm just going to continue and go down and just, as I'm doing it, round out these sides with my knife. Okay, so I've rounded it out like that, and then I've just cut in a groove on the angle just to get that. And you can see that's kind of in line up there, and that's sort of in line with that, so that's good. So the next thing is going to be doing the sides and just continuing this down. Okay, so this is what my car's looking from the side. It's great that I can sort of see that there. So the next stage is I'm going to sort of draw in where it's going to go down. I'll probably use my toothpicks because I'm so rubbish at doing it, so that I can kind of say, you know, right, that's at the end of the wheel, and then it's going to go, you know, down here, and then the other wheel. So I'm going to do my markings. I'll show you what it looks like when I've finished. Okay, so this is where I've sort of measured up both sides. I think that one actually is just about there. First thing I'm going to do is cut into that bottom part, and then I'm kind of going to just, the good thing with the mud cake is you can kind of almost push it in and then see where you've kind of got to follow. So you can sort of see how I've been doing that, just pushing it in like that. So cut out the, you know, the thing that you stand on to get into the car, and yeah, I'm going to cut that out first. Okay, so I've cut that out. Next thing is to half it so that you can see, you'll be able to see where I've cut down here. Now don't worry too much about how much of a mess it looks like. I've just got this crumbly mess. Because obviously you're going to ganache it, and you can kind of, you know, bits are going to crumble away. That's all right. Once you ganache it, it's going to look so much better. So I need to carve out the other wheel. But it's got the basic shape. That's got a bit there. but it'll look a lot better once it's ganached. So anyway, I'm going to cut out this wheel, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Okay, now if you're like me, and if you have a look here, you can see this wheel is just not enough. I kind of need to build it out there. Just grab a bit of ganache and just stick some of your little, this is my little bit of things, just stick it. I need to just put a tiny bit more here. So I'm just going to stick that on. I've stuck some stuff on here because it was a bit crumbly, but that's all right. Yeah, anyway, and you can build it up that way to even it out. Okay, so it is definitely not perfect, but I want to show you that it doesn't have to be. I look at this and it looks so wonky, and I knocked off this side, but it's okay. So what the next step is, this is such a good example of how something looks like a piece of crap, but hopefully at the end it's going to look good. So the next thing is going to be ganaching it, and this is going to be kind of where it all counts. So literally putting on my chocolate, and then I'm just going to make the grooves, look a bit better. I just want to show you how bad this looks. That was my first ganaching job. I put it in the fridge so it's cooler. I'm going to smooth this out and just do a second coating of ganache. Okay, you can see how much better already that looks. So I've just sort of smoothed it, redefined the grooves, and I have clean hands, don't worry. And then if you use your hands, you can just sort of smooth it around and get it in the right groove. So I'm just going to go and smooth and fix up the rest of the cake. Okay, so this is sort of my finished smoothed cake. It's a little bit uneven at the back, but it's not going to matter. I'm not going to waste my time getting it perfect because, I've got that yellow thing that's going to go there. So that'll be fine regardless. You just want to make sure, this is looking fine. I'm happy with that. I'll just make sure that stays smooth. It doesn't matter how this looks because you're going to put a wheel on it. So I'm not too worried. I'm not going to waste my time getting it perfect. If you want to, you can get it perfectly smooth, but I'm happy enough with how this looks. Once you start adding it, you could spend hours trying to get it perfect, but really by the time you put all the decorations on and do all of that, it's going to look just good enough anyway. So that's it. I'm going to roll out my fondant and put that on.